Hi, and welcome to the next topic of object-oriented programming in Java. Now, in this topic, we will explore what is a constructor in Java. Now, a constructor is basically of two types, such as the default constructor and also the parameterized constructor. Now, before diving deep into the topic of constructor, first let us check out what is actually a constructor in case of object-oriented programming. So here inside the IntelliJ IDE, I will now close the doc.java. And within the rectangle.java class, let us do one thing. Right after the instance variable declaration, let us define our constructor. So first, we need to define a modifier such as public and then give it a space and define the name of the constructor. Now, a constructor for a class should always have a name exactly same as that of the class name. So here I will now define rectangle, that is the name of the constructor should always be same as that of the class name, right? So simply type rectangle and then use the parenthesis, that is bracket open and close, and then define the body of the constructor by using the pair of curly bracket open and close, right? And now hit enter and then we need to write our code here. Now you must be thinking this public rectangle resembles similar to that of a method. Here in case of a method, if you notice, we have a public modifier and similarly we have the public modifier. And here again we have the name of the constructor and here again we have the name of the method as getArea. And followed by the name we have the bracket open and close, and similarly in case of method we have the bracket open and close. But the only difference is that in case of a constructor we don't have any return type. So we should never mention the return type in case of a constructor. Unlike in case of method where we can have a return type such as float, void, int and so on. But in case of constructor we can never have the return type, right? So always remember this. And now in case of a method we can simply pass few parameters such as int x or string str and so on depending on our requirement, right? Now similar to the method in Java, in case of constructors as well, you can also pass few parameter, as for example, let's call it float length and then float breadth like this, right? Now whenever we pass some parameter within a constructor, it is known as the parameterized constructor. And now what about the default constructor? Now in case of default constructor, we don't have any parameter. So simply use public rectangle and then bracket open and close. And soon after this, within the block, you may write your own code, right? Now since this constructor does not accept any parameter, so it is known as the default constructor in Java. So these are the two different types of constructor. Now since these two constructors resemble closely to that of the method, so these constructors are also known as the special type of method in Java. Now at the end of this video, you must be thinking, why do we really need constructors in Java? So let us find it out in the next video.